In the 1600s, everybody in the Caribbean knew and feared the most notorious pirate, Henry Morgan.
Admiral Sir Henry Morgan was actually a former officer in the British Navy who was secretly given instructions by the governor of Jamaica to raid Spanish settlements. Although a brilliant naval strategist, Morgan was not particularly good at listening to orders, and he pillaged and destroyed far more than was requested.
Plundered treasures ended up here in Port Royal, home to Henry Morgan and many other Caribbean pirates.
Port Royal was known as the wickedest place on earth, with saloons lining every street.
Suddenly, in 1692, an earthquake hit, shook the harbor, and sunk the peninsula right to the bottom of the ocean.
Those who managed to survive the earthquake were then swept away in the tidal wave that followed. Thousands died that day.
Much of Port Royal's ruins and treasures still exist today, buried underwater.
There are many who believe this was not coincidence, that these pirates and their hedonistic town were swept into the ocean as retribution for their actions.
It makes me wonder, maybe the pirate life is not for me. This is Port Antonio's famous Blue Lagoon, 186 feet deep, a mixture of fresh and salt water. Port Antonio is a beautiful little town tucked away in this cove on the north coast of Jamaica. In the late 1800s, this harbor exported most of its bananas to the United States. Most importantly, Port Antonio is where the Rio Grande meets the ocean. Let's rough down the Rio Grande to prepare some authentic Jamaican dishes with Miss Wizzy. Everything I know about Jamaican cooking I learned from Miss Betty. Sadly, Miss Betty is no longer living, but her daughter, Miss Wizzy, is keeping traditional bush cooking alive along the Rio Grande. Wizzy!
Hi,
It's been
Mr.
22
Walter.
years.
Okay.
It's been a long time. 22
Yeah,
years. Are the
such a long time.
recipes still the same?
Still the same.
Nothing has changed.
Nothing has changed.
So what are we making first, Wizzy?
This one is the stew pork.
So
As-
basically what you've done so far, you just fried the pork,
Fry
right?
the pork,
Little
right.
seasoning on it, salt, pepper.
Yeah. And for now, I'm gonna show you how I make the sauce on it. Some thyme, some scallions, onions,
Yeah.
some tomatoes,
And peppers.
sweet peppers,
Pepper. Yep, right.
Here we go for the sauce.
Give me that for you.
Okay, thank you.
That's what makes it beautiful. Reducing this down in, see what's nice about it, your pork is not completely lean, so you have a little fat. So the fat on the bottom of the pan
Yeah.
then cooks the stuff
Give
and
it
gives you
the
the
nice-
gives flavor. Yep.
Yeah. And then I add some water to make the sauce complete. Okay, not too much.
So the flavors of the onion, the scallion, the peppers, all reduces down with the pork. It just gives it
Yeah,
flavor.
everything goes down and you get a nice, lovely sauce.
Now this is going to simmer, what is that,
Simmer.
15, 20 minutes because you already
Yeah,
pre-seared it
maybe the
good?
next 15 minutes and it's
I'll be
okay.
ready to eat. Let me get the salt and pepper for you.
Okay.
All right, you got a salt here.
Thank you.
I got a pepper over here. How much pepper you
Yes.
want me to put in there?
Just a little.
Like so?
Sprinkle a little.
So Vizzy, I got to take a taste of the stew pork.
Yes, you can.
Oh.
Off the
You
chain.
know what's interesting? we cook here like they're cooked hundreds of years ago. No modern equipment, but that's what makes it so beautiful. The flavor.
You don't get this from the stove, from the gas stove.
No, I know. So Vizzy, the stew beef is just perfectly holding. The pork needs a little bit more, but now you got to really show me the dish that made your mom famous right here on the bend of the Rio Grande, which was your chicken fricassee. And she told me earlier on many times that the only dish she served.
Was
show me how it's done.
chicken fricassee.
And rice and peas,
yes, right? Okay. This is my way of cutting the chicken.
And I want to see it your way.
Some people don't cut the way I cut, but
I don't.
When I cut this way and when I cut it this way, you don't get the back in it.
Ah.
I cut it with the back also.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right.
Cut here, right here. And I take these out from it. Clean the inside here. Here we go.
Take the breast, you cut it down.
Yeah, cut the breast, cut
it
it right in
Yep,
two,
in half,
When I cut my chicken, I get 10 pieces.
And I know why you count the 10 pieces.
Why?
Because you sell the chicken by the piece. That's why.
Okay, yes.
And after all, you're not just a cook, you're a businesswoman too, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's what your mom told me.
That's so true.
You're going to put salt and pepper on there?
Wonderful.
I'm going to get the oil on the fire because you want to get the oil nice and hot, correct?
Thank you.
Let me do that right now. You almost ready, you think?
To get the chicken well brown and lovely, the oil, it have to be hot. Okay?
All right. Hot oil, you want to fry it good so it sears up the skin.
Right, yeah.
For two reasons. One, to stick in your pot, and also to get the crispiness on it, right?
Yeah, get the golden brown.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. You have to keep it in the oil. We don't want it to stick on the pot. Yeah.
Now we're going to turn the oil off.
Yeah. There we go. Have to be careful. And now we're gonna make the sauce. Garlic, sweet peppers, onions, tomatoes, yes. Scotch bonnet pepper, some scallions, and a little Irish
potato.
in it. We add some water and let it simmer down.
So Vizzy, the chicken should be done by now, would you say?
Yes, it should be.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Oh, it's
Look
perfect.
at that. Look at that. Look at that. Now you know, that was the first dish I ever had here.
I know.
22 years ago.
Yes, yes.
Your mom
I
made
know.
it. So I want to see if you and I both have not forgotten anything.
No, I don't think I forget anything. It's
Let's
the
try it.
same.
Go ahead, let's try it. Let's see how good we are.
Oh, real nice. This is a real Jamaican fricassee.
It is absolutely superb. And you know what? It
Very
tastes
nice.
it tastes like it tasted 22 years ago. I'm not kidding you.
Nothing missing. Great.
It stays in the family.
Yeah.
Well, we call it liquid sunshine in Jamaica,
Yeah, man, we do.
but nothing going to stop me from making a dish that I fell in love with over 25 years ago, mind you,
I know.
in Kingston. Breadfruit is not available anywhere but the islands, not just Jamaica, but many islands.
Yeah.
You know, breadfruit, ironically, came over with Captain Bligh, you know,
Yeah.
the same guy, Mutton of the Bounty, everybody talks about him.
Yeah.
So breadfruit is a staple now, but in the early days, it took a while for it to catch on.
Yeah.
I got a breadfruit on the fire. Would you hand it over to me?
Yes.
The roasted one? And then do me a favor,
This lovely
Yeah,
one
man.
over here.
Then-
Yep.
peel it up, give me a nice couple of pieces,
Yep.
and I'll show you how this dish is done. What it is, it's a fish, any kind of firm fish, like a snapper. You make it thin fillet, and you make a stuffing with the breadfruit,
Breadfruit, okay.
some eggs, some onions, some scallions, some habaneros, a little bit of thyme, and it goes all into it. And then you cook the whole fish in coconut milk, but you wrap it all in a banana leaf, and it makes it unique. I know normally you serve also breadfruit here when it's in season, right?
Always.
What the breadfruit does, obviously you know I'm from Europe, from the Black Forest. We make the same dishes, but we use potato or bread.
Okay.
Breadfruit and bread have the same characteristics. Cut it,
Yeah.
kind of fine. And then I'll have some pepper over here.
Yes.
I have some salt over here. Onions, scallions, peppers, a bit of garlic, and some ginger. All right, in there. All right, now, get me an egg. An egg in here. This is additional breadfruit I already chopped before a little bit. Go ahead. Put your hands in here and literally work this to death. Not mixing it. You really want to work it, like working it.
Yeah.
Better than more. All right. Now you can put some bok choy or kalaloo, or if you don't have neither of those, some spinach would go to. Just a little bit, not much more than a little bit more.
Mix.
All right.
Okay.
A little bit more. It makes the stuffing a little lighter and gets unique flavor into it. Next time you make it for your guests coming by, just do that and put it on a griddle. It's awesome. You know, in my days when I had to wash my hand, your mom threw me right in the river, you know. Literally, I'm not kidding you either. You were too young to remember. You were too young to remember those days. So now, there's a couple of ways you can do that. One, you can take a little fish, but the problem with a little fish is a lot of bones in it, and you'd have to bone it completely. So for this dish, take any kind of firm fish. You take a fillet like that here. You cut thin slices, like so. But you really want to make it lengthwise, like, see, like so.
Yeah.
And that's why it's also important that you use a firm fish. Because if the fish would be too soft, by the time it would cook in the milk, it'd be all falling apart. So like so. So a banana leaf that you rub it into is now readily available in the United States and many other countries. In any Asian market. It comes frozen. It actually works extremely well. What the banana leaf does, it gives you a certain amount of flavor into it. So all you want to do, cut a piece of banana leaf like you see me doing here. You lay out the fish. You want to give me a little salt and pepper right on the fish. Salt, there you go. And now you're going to give me the stuffing with a little dollop in the middle like so. Then I'll take it and I wrap it. Take another piece of banana leaf. Fold it over. I make like something you already know for a long time. It's called a blutrohr.
Okay.
Then what you do, you take a little string. It's not really string, but it's a leaf. What I like to use many times is right a piece of the banana itself. Or you can use, what I like a lot, is actually a scallion. Will you do me a favor and put the coconut milk on the fire for me? Got it on there?
Okay.
So Vissy, obviously coconut milk in our days comes out of tins, as we all know.
Okay.
In my days, early on days, you would grate it from the coconut, the flesh, and squeeze it out.
Right.
Now I need a sprig of thyme from you, maybe a quarter of a teaspoon, half a teaspoon of curry, depends how strong you want it. Throw it right in the coconut milk. A little pepper, just a little bit, not too much, because there you go. A little salt.
There you go.
And then we have a habanero. That for this recipe, I leave the habanero whole because I don't want it too strong to overpower my fish. So I leave it whole. If you like it hotter, because remember there's enough heat already because we already have peppers in the mix, then you pierce it. But for this, it still gets flavor to a hole in there. I want you to try it a little bit of the stock. Just the stock to poach the fish in.
Fantastic. Great.
Okay, now, all I do, look at it, how simple. Now, obviously, if you make this for a lot of people, you just make more of those for the day. So what I do is I have it in there, and all I'm going to do is put it right into the stock, put the lid on it.
Okay,
I want us to bring the dishes we made earlier, bring them all out, get them everything warmed up, so that we can taste this feast on the Rio Grande by Miss Vissy. In honor of who?
Miss Betty.
Got it.
Okay.
So I came here, 3,000 miles, to just pay homage to her.
Cassava, also known as manioc, was a very important food for the slaves who were brought to Jamaica to work on banana plantations, because it was low cost for plantation owners and a good source of energy, although lacking in nutrition.
It's pure carbohydrate and it has roughage. And that became the basic food. It was like the bread.
Cassava is a bitter root vegetable, a potato-like starch, that is poisonous if eaten raw. As was the case in the 18th century, it is an extremely labor-intensive process to grind the root into a pulp. The pulp is bagged and then placed in this primitive press to squeeze out the liquid. After the press, the pulp is placed on a wood-fired stove to dry into a powdered flour. It is during this process that the cassava gives off dangerous cyanide vapors, which the cooks certainly breathed. Only after cooking can the cassava be eaten.
Grating it, pressing it, roasting it, and look at that. Make the best breakfast you've ever had.
The cassava is extremely poisonous, but luckily it is soluble in water. So once you bake it, or you soak it in water long enough, you get rid of the poison.
The cassava flour is used in many local recipes, like this drink flavored with berries, and it's also the source of tapioca pudding. Modern-day Jamaicans call it bammy.
Bammy comes from the cassava root. Most people cannot envision ever to eat a jerk pork or jerk chicken without some bammy on the side.
Cassava was plentiful along the banks of the Rio Grande and fed the slaves to fuel the growth of banana plantations here.
Judging by the flavors I'm getting off that stove, this stuff got to be ready. What do you think?
Yes, it's well ready.
So, do you think it's time for a taste?
Yes.
And see how well we did together?
Yes.
I know you did well. I don't know how well I did, but let's try it. Stew beef. A little stewed pork. Here we got a small piece here. And then I'm going to have a little bit of chicken fricassee, a little bit of yam, just boiled yam. You can roast the yam or you can just boil it. And also take a little bit of sweet potato,
Give you
a little bit of fig,
banana.
which is a boiled green banana. So let me taste first that here. This is obviously the stew beef.
Stew beef, yes.
So much flavor, huh?
Yeah, very nice.
Then I have a little bit of the stewed pork.
Pork, yeah. Oh,
The sweetness comes right out from the onion, the caramelization.
yeah.
Very good. Wow.
Delicious.
No wonder it was your famous dish. I remember her sign on the river says
Yes.
fricassee and rice and
Fricassee.
peas. You remember that?
Yes, yes.
Even
yes.
so, it was misspelled. So, Miss Missy, now I want you to taste that fish. Remember, we snapper,
Yes.
we stuffed them with the breadfruit, with the stuffings, and we cooked it in the coconut with curry. Beautiful bamboo tray here. So you take the string off, open it up like that, and look how gorgeous it looks. And then go in there and taste a little bit. Do you think that Captain Blythe would have thought that his breadfruit that he brought over
Watery.
would come into a dish like that?
No.
Remember, I had this dish in Kingston many, many years ago, and it's just a beautiful, lot of flavor. Isn't it interesting?
Yeah.
The curry, the coconut milk, the peppers, it's just really beautiful. I have a fantastic memory for flavors of food.
Yeah.
I never forget it. Like I never forget your food, I never forget it either.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy to able to make this today for you so you can taste my handiwork.
Yes. It's very delicious.
"30 years ago, when I first started learning about Jamaican cuisine, Miss Betty and the band of the Rio Grande in Port Antonio gave away her secret recipes for Boston-style jerk pork. What's unique about the jerk is there's a couple of very important ingredients. For the jerk seasoning, the pimento berry is very, very important because the flavor it gives is second to none. Allspice, we call it allspice here. In Jamaica, it's called pimento. You want to make sure that you get whole berries with a mortar and pestle, and you just want to break them. The flavor that comes out of this is absolutely, it's just spectacular. But when you buy it already ground, it has preservatives and additives, and it takes away from the actual flavor. Next, I'm going to chop my ginger, and the ginger, whole fresh ginger, coarse chop. Ginger's gone. Garlic, also cut it really coarse, just like so. Doesn't have to be really fine, but just like that. Now comes a very important part, which is scallion, or we call it here green onions. Now, I have to admit, the flavor of our green onions are not even close to the ones that we get in the islands. But between the onion and the garlic, it kind of balances itself out. Next, some onion. We just want to cut it coarse. Now, many times in the islands, you do not need onion because the green onion they use, the scallion, are so powerful. But here, I had to make some adaptation. You couldn't do jerk if you didn't have time. And the time is very essential. So what I got here, you want to make sure you don't get hothouse time. You want a really good time that is like a dry time like this one over here. Just going to chop it. You can also pull it. Since you're just making a marinade, you don't have to worry about it. You can just cut it up because you're not eating the marinade. Look at how beautiful those peppers are. Those are the most potent peppers in the world. Up to 1 million heat units. They look so innocent. Don't be fooled. Now those peppers is actually what is the preservative that really preserves the pork without refrigeration. Way back when, the Maroon Indians discovered this real early, because you get sick once or twice or might even die from food poisoning. You get very smart. So those peppers will actually act as a preservative, such as salt and smoking. But the pepper curing, which what curing is all about, is what cures it. Now, when you do that at home, please use rubber gloves. I'm used to it, so I can handle it. So you want to just cut it. Now remember, the heat is in the membrane in there. This is where the actual big heat is, and this one is like so. But you want to be really, really careful. Do very little of the habanero at first. You can always add heat, but you can never take it away. Put a little bit into it and feel your way through it. Just to give you a reference, a red pepper has 0 Scoville units. A habanero can up to 1,200,000. There's a couple more hotter peppers in the world, but by and large, they're the hottest there is. I have my ingredients here. The most important part is the allspice, or the pimento. Without that, the flavor would not be the same. I'm only using some freshly ground pepper. I use a little bit of soy. And a little bit of vegetable oil. The oil kind of acts like assisting the preservative on it. Now this marinade can last in your refrigerator 3-4 weeks, but if you get into it, you want to make sure you use a clean spoon, never your hands. The bacteria be in there. The marinade is done. Now all I got to do, I have my pork already here. And what I did is I chopped it, I took a suckling pig like I learned it from Miss Betty, chopped it in 4 pieces. So I'm just throwing those pieces into my bowl. 1, 2. Then I put the marinade on top, like so. All right. Put the rest of the marinade over. You want to make sure you wrap it in nicely good. And now you want to put this in your refrigerator at least 4 hours, but ideally overnight. It's been marinating overnight, as you can see how beautiful. And what you want to do is you want to start off at a nice fire, but what you want to do is you want them not too hot. So when you're going to cook your churk, you want to start off at a high heat and then shut it way down. The inner temperature, preferably 145 degrees. But as I mentioned, you want to be very careful because you don't want to burn. Look at it, this is just the way you want it. Look at it, 1.5 hours. Beautiful. So all you want to do now, at this stage, want to just chop it up. Now I got to do the first thing, it's very important. Miss Betty, you taught me so well. I'm telling you, that is like spectacular.